Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and this is the second part of making this wooden chandelier. And if you didn't watch the first video, you need to back up and watch the first one, or you'll be completely lost. So, we've got our chandelier ready to go, or the outside stakes. We're going to Control D and make a duplicate, and then we're going to hold down the Control button. Now, we need to move this over. We're going to set our nudge factor on 0.25. And we're just going to move this over to about where we have enough room in here for the cord to hang. As you can see, that's, we don't need very much because, the bigger you make this, the more wood it's going to cost you. And let's just measure, see what we have. We're going to get our virtual or our parallel dimension tool, and we're going to measure from there to there. We're at 10.08, which that would be good. Now, this is what we actually need to do. I need to bring in an indexing line and put it right there on that edge. Another indexing line and put it on that edge. Now, I want to move those over 1/4 of an inch because you remember that these are going to fit together, so they're going to go past here. So let's set our nudge factor is set on 0.25. Let's just nudge that indexing line over. Nudge that one over. Now we're going to take our parallel dimension tool and get right on that indexing line and go to that indexing line. We're at 10.58. We're going to make it 10.5 because that'll just make it easier. So let's move these out of the way. And I'm going to draw a circle that's 10.5. 10.5. And if you have this locked, you don't have to put in both numbers. We're going to hit P and put it in the center of the page. And one thing I should have done earlier, I made our slot for this, but I made it 0.125 by 0.3, and you'll see why in just a second. Now I'm going to hit P on the keyboard and put it in the center of the page. Let's move these out of the way a little bit more. Now, and you don't want to disrupt this because you're going to need to measure, so you want to move them together. Let's zoom in here a little bit. We're going to get our indexing line now and put it in the center of the page. We're going to move this one to the center of the page. Well, we don't need that one. We need this one. So now you know the center. We're going to grab that, select it, hold down the Shift key, and select our outer circle, and then hit T as in Tom to put it to the top. Now, if you remember, I made this box 0.3. We only need 1/4 of an inch, but this is where it's handy. I'm going to set our nudge factor on 0.05, and I'm going to move this up 0.05. So now our slot is going to be 1/4 of an inch. I got my numbers too big. And it is 1/4 of an inch. I just wasn't perfectly on the line. Now, here's where the fun starts. Now, there's 24 of these outside stays. I counted them. Well, 24 will go into 360, 15 degrees. So we need to select that, Control D and make a duplicate, double click on it and move the rotation to the center of the page. And a lot of times it won't look like it's in the center when you're done, but if you go back to it and hit double click, it'll be right in the center. Now we need to move this 15 degrees. And for some reason, Corel Draw won't let you go Control D on the second time. So now we have to move it 30 degrees. Now you can go Control D all the way around. So we've got those. Now select them all and go front minus back. Well, I don't know what's going on. That should work. No, okay, I was wrong. It's, let's back up here. It was actually back minus front. And that'll get your grooves, it'll trim your line. So now you've got your grooves for the stays. I'm going to call them stays. Now we've got a 10 point, it's changed a little bit, 10.5. We need an inner ring. So we're going to make our inner ring, let's make our inner ring 9.5 by 9.5. And let's hit P on the keyboard. There's our ring. Now, if you'll group this together, Control G, and just move it out of the way. So now you've got the bigger ring done. Now we need a smaller ring. And I'm just going to do one more of these for the video. And let's zoom in here and see what size we need. And we need to bring an indexing line right to there. And if you look, I'm putting it right on the corner and it locks, it snaps to. Now we need to move our nudge factor back to 0.25. And then we need to move this indexing line 0.25. Now we need to measure this. Get right on there to there. Now we need a circle that's only 2.83. So remember that 2.83, and what we can do, we can go ahead and draw our circle. And this time I'm going to draw a circle, and I'm going to lock this. So now I'm going to go 2.83, and it's changed both of them, so it's 2.83 perfectly round. Let's hit P on the keyboard, put it in the center of the page. Now I did it again. I should have saved my little tab cut out, so 0.125, and that will change because the fact that you might, after you've done your test, and see, this is why I keep this unlocked, because I don't want it equal. I want it, I'm going the wrong way, 1.25, 0.125, no, I had it right, 0.125 by 3, or 0.3. All right, we got our tab. Hit P on the keyboard, put it in the center of the page. Do the same thing, just hit the select both circles. Hit T like Tom to put it up top. Now we're going to move this thing up 0.05 like we did in the previous one. Now we're going to rotate this, Control D and make a duplicate, double click on it, move our rotation to the center, and then rotate this 15 degrees. Control D, 30 degrees. (24 times). Then select everything and back minus front. So now we've got our groove. Now we need to do the same thing. We need this is 2.87. Let's draw a, well, this one actually needs to be solid for the cord to go through, and I haven't made it yet, but we're going to call that the size of the cord, and you'll want to group this together, Control G. Now we're in the center of the page, and we can bring in our bigger one, put it in the center of the page. So to save you time on the video, I'm not going to show you how to do the inside ring, but you would do the same thing, or the middle size, it would go right there. You do exactly what I did. You could cut all three of these rings out of a piece of plywood that's only 11 by 11 inches big. All right, I guess this is just going to make a two-part video, because the next video will actually have the picture I made with this. So, and what I like about this, once you've done your test cuts like we did in the first video, some other things I've done like this, it takes so much wood. Now, we don't want to mess it, I don't want to mess this up because I need this to measure, but we're going to take one of them and make a duplicate of it, Control D. Then you can put them in your laser. Let's get rid of all these indexing lines. And if you have a piece of wood the size of your laser, or almost the size of your laser bed, you can bring this in and make a duplicate of that and just hold down your control button and just move it over. Then Control D, and you can probably get all 24 out of that. So I'm going to be able to get this entire, and I could maybe go one more and squeeze. You could squeeze these in a little bit. You can play around, but I'm going to be able to get all these pieces out of one sheet of plywood. Anyway, so stay tuned for the finished project, and thank you for watching.